So I remember when I was a complete beginner in German. I had no prior knowledge of how to even learn a language in the first place. Fast forward to 9 months after that point where I was able to reach a German B2. If you want to reach a B1 in German in just 3 months, especially if your goal is to speak it, then stick around for all of this video so I can show you my exact tips, resources, and timeline for what I would do in your place. The first thing we're diving into is materials, specifically a base resource that allows you to structure your own learning, especially if you're learning German solo. We're on a timeline as well, so we do want to limit distractions. I'm going to suggest Nico's Weg because they have a complete A1 to B1 interactive course. It is truly one of the most comprehensive free programs out there that I have ever seen and tried for German. 72 lessons per level, 216 lessons in total. And you can get a really good coverage of listening, reading, grammar, and vocabulary practice. It's also a great resource to just be able to find topics to talk about or write about if you ever want to get that output in. The next thing I recommend is always having a supplemental resource, only meant to support what you are doing with your base resource. And as you go further in your German language journey, you're going to find out, hey, like I have a few weak points that I can drill even more with my supplemental resources, even though I technically already used the lessons of Nico's Weg that went over this certain point. I can recommend and have tried myself Complete German All-in-One, Teach Yourself Complete German, and Living Language German Complete Edition. One thing I will say about resources is don't overthink it. We think we'll miss out on something quote unquote important. We sometimes get FOMO, but the truth is all of these teach the same thing basically. Delivery will be slightly different, but you're putting yourself already at a disadvantage if you get all the textbooks and programs, so you really don't need to search far and wide. Try just one at a time from the list above, and if you don't like it, then try the next one on the list. Especially at the beginner level, we need to be worrying more about having a structured plan and getting you starting to learn and develop that consistency instead of quote unquote picking the best ever resource, because it really does not exist. If you would like to write more by hand when you're practicing German, is Schaum's grammar drills as well as Enthuline grammar worksheets, which it also has really fun worksheets for if you want to dive more into German culture or writing, speaking, reading, even song lyrics, etc. By the way, if you find that your mind goes blank when you try to speak German and or you freeze under pressure, I have a free training that will help you fix that with just 3 minutes a day and only 5 words. So sign up in the comments below. Before we even talk about a timeline, we need to decide what you want to be able to do in German at the end of these 3 months. We're going to call that your overall goal. And that goal is going to embody how you practically can apply the German skills at B1 that you have worked so hard for these last 3 months, right? We really need a tangible goal to measure progress, not just saying, hey, I reached a B1 in German, because what does that even mean, right? So to standardize what I'm talking about here, we're going to use the European Framework for Languages definition of what B1 means as seen here. Think about what are you inspired to set your goal as that also complements this definition roughly about what a B1 speaker is able to do. Also, if your overall goal has more to do with writing, reading, or listening instead of speaking, totally valid. Just make sure that you can, for example, if it's writing, write about the topics above. Even with errors, it's still a great feat. And if your overall goal has to do more with reading or listening, also make sure you can comprehend the main points of any material you read or listen to at B1. So that can be any podcasts, any graded readers, a specific conversation from a YouTube video. Let's move on to how you are going to divide Nico's Weg over months 1 through 3. 1 hour per day of dedication to the course and roughly finishing minimum 2 lessons per day can help you achieve B1 level knowledge in about 3 months. But again, if you only have about 30 minutes to 1 hour per day, or you have to skip some days because life gets in the way all the time, language learners, we aren't robots, and it's important to adapt your learning to your life. And if that means you take 4 to 5 months to reach B1 instead of just 3 months, then that is perfectly acceptable and valid too. Our plan for month 1 Basically, as I said before, about 2 lessons per day you're aiming to finish, which takes anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes, plus additional review time on the day of your choice of any previous material you have covered, but you need extra review. And again, to also look around at your supplemental resource and see if you can drill more the concepts that you learned first in Nico's Vague. Month 2, if you're sticking to 2 lessons per day, you're going to finish up A1 to A2 of Nico's Vague in month 2, definitely. So you're going to maintain your 30-minute review time of newly learned material. You're also going to add, like we did in month 1, 30 minutes to review any weak points you noticed through A1 to A2. These can be, for example, grammar, vocabulary, general structures you keep on forgetting, grammar or vocabulary you don't feel confident using. Whatever overall goal you set for yourself with German, that is what we need to start really honing in here on month 2. So if you have a reading weakness, but your overall goal has to do with you being able to read a graded reader completely, then we need to work on that and see what structures and vocabulary topics we need to be able to comprehend to do that. See my video for how to build a reading system in the card above, by the way, if you need more assistance with doing so. If your overall goal has to do more with speaking, this is where I'd really add a conversation lesson. Around 30 minutes, 1 time per week minimum. If you want to work on writing, again, see my vid for how to master writing in any language in the card above or in the description below. It is beginner friendly. And again, if you want to work on listening and reading, you can add resources like more podcasts here in month 2, more graded reader novels for A1 or A2, kids shows, YouTube videos. Please see my German resources video here and also in the description below to find something that you will like. If you already are feeling confident with what you've done so far in month 2, you can continue with their B1 course, either at the middle or the end of this month. So don't be afraid to take more time to go through the lessons as they start building on the foundations you built in A1 and A2. And also don't forget to review any extra weak points as you move through, because those are really going to show that you haven't worked on them if you neglect them and move on to month 3 without doing so. For month 3, you're going to increase your speaking to 2 times per week, especially if your overall goal has to do with speaking. Your first goal of month 3 is to finish the B1 Nico's Vague course. The second goal of month 3 is to complete and finish your overall goal, which will offer you more proof and evidence that make you more confident in actually applying your skills at B1. So for example, if I set my overall goal as having a 30-minute German conversation class, aiming to only use German to talk about my plans, my childhood, my interests, and opinions, and at the end of that German conversation class, maybe with a tutor, I know that I'm not aiming for perfection here. I am always asking myself only by the end, did I make myself understood by the end of the lesson? That's really it. And again, if you are finding yourself freezing up and having your mind go blank as you are trying to achieve your overall goal that has to do with speaking, that is exactly what my free training is for in the comments below. So make sure you check that out. Okay, you guys, there you have it for my whole German plan. Do let me know in the comments down below if you resonated with a specific tip or a resource, or if you just want to share more about your German language journey in general. And I will see you guys in another video very soon.